Hi Lisa, thank you very much for today's talk. The Australian Aboriginals say we have three brains. One is in the head, another in the heart, and another in the gut. I know that Adyashanti talks of three types of awakening that can occur in each center. It reminds me of Ramakrishna's statement of the blind man believing a small part of the elephant's body they could feel was the revelation of the whole elephant. I wonder if you have any comments on this. I ask as I don't think I'm in touch with my heart and gut as I am with my head. I'm trying to get in touch with these centers. So I would say the heart is the I am. I don't know what the gut part would be. But I understand from the human perspective, like not having much attention in the gut and in the heart. But the heart is the I am, and it's a feeling of love. And then you've got the empty looking that's here, looking through all the senses, experiencing through all the senses, and is everything that experiences. The reason that the heart and the gut get cut off is because you don't want to experience what they're saying, or the thoughts, the person, the character doesn't want to experience what they're saying. So if you've been brought up in a dysfunctional family where you've been very suppressed, your needs and wants have been very suppressed, or the other person has been very overbearing, in order for you to survive and not to pop with anger at their behavior, there has to be a cutting off. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you popping with anger, but just laughing at that expression and just the idea of it. But there has to be a cutting off from those sensations. So say if you're in a relationship with someone that's being very passive aggressive or very domineering, and there's no room for you to assert yourself in any way, then your option is to leave the situation, which you can't do as a child, or to remain, but you have to cut off from that. It's too painful to acknowledge that. How do you carry on relating unhealthily if you're aware of it, if you're conscious of it? So this is why we cut off from our body most of the time, because we can't deal with the reality of what the emotions are saying, and we don't know how to navigate it with the seeming outside world, and there's no advice around us that helps us integrate them both. So then all the attention goes to the head and we rewrite the story, and this is where it begins to get very abstract, because the story then becomes about something completely different. So say if someone is being passive aggressive to you, you might interpret that as love in the thoughts. They are loving you, they're caring about you, they're being sweet. But underneath in your body there is a knowing, and there is a boundary being crossed, and there's a knowing that they're not being genuine. But because you've cut off from that story, your gut, and you don't want to hear that, you remain up there and you suppress that feeling. But in order to suppress the feelings of the body, of the negative feelings of the body, you have to suppress all the positive ones. So you just become a story, a walking around story and thought. It's just all about thoughts. And you lose things like, so not being in contact with your sacral chakra, you'll lose things like your strength, your power, your work ethic, your ability to do, anger, sensuality, sexuality. So all of these things will be lost. And ironically, what can happen is then happen is there can then be, when you're cut off from your body, an addiction to sexuality, because that is some form of feeling there. So it becomes like an addictive, but it's a dysfunction. There could be all types of things. There could be an addiction to eating. Yeah. So what you need to do is work out the subconscious and continuously put the attention in the I am, which includes all sensations in the body. But you also need to work out what the subconscious is, like what your body is saying, what the feelings and the chakras are actually saying in the moment, which is really confronting, because it might mean that there are relationships or things that you're doing that aren't in line with what you feel. And that's really, really scary, because if you imagine as a child, if you actually realize that your mother is being really unhealthy or your father is being really unhealthy, that would mean potential death for you. So it's like the ultimate fear to realize these things. So it's like a waking up, like the body has to wake up again.